Hello, my name is Stacy Moore, and today I'd like to talk to you about the problems being experienced in the federally administrated tribal areas of Pakistan, or the Fatah as it is known. The Fatah is one of the most lawless regions in the world. It is not fully integrated into the Pakistani government, and its citizens have no rights under the Constitution of Pakistan. Warlords are taking over the region in the face of this corrupt central government and a lack of overall good governance. The Fatah citizens have no recourse to the judicial system in Pakistan. Therefore, even if they would like to address the corruption issues that they face, there is nowhere for them to go. This part of the country is, as it does not fall underneath the purview of the rest of the nation, a rather undeveloped part of the country and of the entire world. They have a per capita income of less than half of the income of the rest of the nation, relying primarily on subsistence agriculture for their living. They also have a per capita development income of less than 1/3 of that of the national average, leading to a complete lack of economic opportunity for most of the citizens there. The literacy rate is only 17% as compared to 54% of the rest of Pakistan. And the citizens there are extraordinarily dissatisfied with the central government. In 2011, President Zardari, recognizing these massive problems in the Fatah, did make some legislative reforms that provides more legal protection under the Constitution and allows the citizens of the Fatah to participate in political activities. Up until that point, they had been unable to participate in political parties and did not have any representation in the legislature. They are now able to participate in political parties and elect a representative member to the legislature. However, this person does not have a vote in any of the legislative practices or ongoings of the country. He also, though, in the same set of legislation, gave the military more control over the Fatah. That effectively nullified many of the legal rights that he had just given the country, or that part of the country. Thus, the political double-dealing here demonstrates the rampant corruption just endemic in the Pakistani government. In fact, the nation ranks 127th out of 177 countries in Transparency International's 2013 Corruption Perceptions Index. Nearly 40% of the population does not even believe that the corruption problem can be solved. And corruption impacts the Pakistani society in many ways, and it has second and third order effects. In particularly, the corruption in the education system leads to a lack of legitimate schools for poor families to send their children to. Thus the 17% literacy rate in the Fatah. However, it's not just a lack of schools, it's the fact that families then are forced, or feel forced, to send their sons off to madrasas, where they are often given extraordinarily extremist educations and then become recruits for Islamist warlords operating in the area. Up until this point, the army has been seen as the least corrupt institution in the Pakistani government. However, even senior officials in the army have been accused in land grab schemes, embezzling money from the government, and they've also made deals with warlords in the Fatah, agreeing not to conduct operations in some areas and targeting rivals of the warlords, allowing them to consolidate their power in the areas which they do occupy. Additionally, military officials have received $71.5 million of U.S. aid that was specifically earmarked for counterterrorism purposes. The money was not used to equip counterterrorist units that were supposed to be operating in the Fatah, leaving these units completely under-equipped and undermanned, and therefore unable to do their mission. These types of failures have led to a widespread mistrust of the government and an increasing reliance on these local Islamist warlords to provide the basics of governance, security, and law and order. It has also provided, the warlords have provided, a boost to the Fatah's economy. With the government failing to provide any development whatsoever, the people have become increasingly reliant on the payments that Islamists training and living in the area are providing them. Thus, Pakistan faces a whole host of problems in taking care of in creating good governance in the Fatah. But there are three primary reasons why Pakistan has been unable to control the Fatah and stop Islamist warlords from operating there. One is that special status that the Fatah exists in. The special status was created by the Frontier Crimes Regulation of 1901 that was put in place by the British government when they had control of the territory. This allows political agents to have near sole autonomy within the Fatahs. Within their tribal area, the political agent is able to assign punishment, mass punishment, for an entire village based on the actions of one person. They may disband tribal councils even under the new Fatah regulations, which took effect in 2012. They can redraw election districts and therefore have a lot of power concentrated in one place, which then becomes fertile soil for additional corruption. Secondly, Pakistan has poorly implemented its anti-corruption strategy. It does have the National Accountability Bureau with the mandate to investigate corruption throughout all of its government agencies, except for the military. This becomes of critical importance in the Fatah because the military does so many operations and has so much power in that region. Additionally, the National Accountability Bureau does not have the infrastructure within the Fatah to effectively launch investigations. So while it does exist and it is mandated to do investigations in that region, it does not have, the citizens there do not have the access to the National Accountability Bureau that they should. The third reason for Pakistan's difficulties in the Fatah lie in its nearly non-existent counterterrorism strategy. In 2013, the legislature demanded that the Prime Minister create a counterterrorism strategy. The strategy is still not approved. However, drafts were leaked to the press, and they seem to follow the classic clear, hold, and build tenets of the counterinsurgency practice, trying to provide a more balanced development agenda for the Fatah, as well as providing additional military and police to provide security in the region in order to build a better economy. But Pakistan is not the only nation that can help in the Fatah. Afghanistan is directly to the north and has a major influence on the tribes in the area, and the United States is of course conducting military operations in Afghanistan and facing the wrath of these Islamist warlords on a regular basis. So both of these nations do have a very large role to play in Pakistan successfully regaining control in the Fatah. The U.S. policy has been rather schizophrenic over the last 15 years. The prevailing option has been to simply throw money at the problems, with military and development aid being provided to the tune of $13 billion. Of that $13 billion, only $750 million were earmarked for development projects in the Fatah. Most of the rest was for direct military aid. And of that $750 million, only a fraction was actually dispersed because the security environment in the Fatah makes it nearly impossible for United States government agencies to account for the money that's being spent there. Therefore, projects go unfinished. They're destroyed and damaged and never repaired. This demonstrates to the people of the Fatah that their government cannot keep them safe, and thus simply delegitimizes the Pakistani government. Another troubling U.S. policy in Pakistan is the policy of conducting drone strikes. The drone strikes tend to incite anti-American sentiment in Pakistan, and it puts the Pakistani government in an extraordinarily difficult situation as they attempt to stay in the good graces of their voting public while not alienating one of their key allies and major aid donors. So the U.S. really must work harder to bring stability to the border region and to use its aid dollars to ensure a successful and stable Fatah, which will then in turn assist their transition in Afghanistan. Afghanistan has long had a difficulty with Pakistan. The border between the two nations is currently contested.